I also got really discouraged yesterday because one of my friends started talking about his 700 YouTube subscribers, and I'm like, well, I'm literally nobody.
Yeah, but his YouTube subscribers
I'm
aren't
literally nobody.
me.
You're more than nobody.
But he doesn't have Sam Allman as a YouTube subscriber, and really, that's all that matters.
Sam, you should probably check to make sure he doesn't first.
I'm like, who is he? He's like, oh, he's Ray William Johnson. And I'm like, oh, whoops.
Nope. You're like, and then you like look behind you to your Ray William Johnson signed autographed poster that you got at the con. You're like, whoops.
Well, this is awkward.
Can
Just
you
gonna take that one down real fast.
Can you imagine being such of like it's because that's last generation's YouTube kid, but being such a YouTube kid of last generation to have signed Ray William Johnson merch. Welcome to RPG Book Club Year 2, which is more like Season 2, but I already called each game that we do a season, so I ran out of words, so I painted myself into a corner there. But RPG Book Club is the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Maddie Webbin.
And today we will be discussing the first 3 chapters of Cosmic Star Heroine, called Alyssa, Super Spy, Mistakes of the Past, and Fight the Power. But before we get to all of that, how is everyone's week? It's been a whole hot minute since we've sat down to actually talk about a video game.
So
Yeah, it has.
I had... Okay, I'm not talking about my whole week. I'm just going to be talking about one day. I went to Pride for the first time.
Yay!
On Saturday.
Oh yeah, that happened in Austin.
Yeah. You know, that seems like it would be a yay, but here's the thing.
No, I know it's probably not a yay.
Yeah. So I was in the parade because Blizzard went, and we walked with the parade, which was really cool. Except that it was like 104 degrees outside.
Oh, jeez.
We arrived there at 6. The parade didn't start until 8, and by start I mean like, you know, the very first parts of the parade going didn't start until 8. It was probably 8:30 or 9 by the time we were moving. Actually, it may have been closer to 9.
Is this AM or PM?
PM.
Fun. Ain't nothing like marching in the dark.
Well, I mean, that was fine because it was not as hot, but
True.
It was still like at that point I was already starting to get like some degree of heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
But like I caught my second wind, and as we're going through the parade, and it was super fun. But like 3/4 of the way through the parade, I started to feel dizzy, and I was about to pass out. So they took me out of the parade, and police officer sat me down, got me some water, and then...
Did you take his gun?
No, because I'm terrified of cops, so...
Same.
Yeah, so... finally, like, once I was no longer feeling like I was about to die, Ken and I got up to leave. This is where the bad part happens.
Uh-oh.
We start heading toward where our car is, and we get fucking trapped. There is a massive crowd of people going to the bars, and, like, they're coming from both directions. The sidewalk is incredibly narrow in this part, and it's just fucking crammed full of people. And I had a massive panic attack in the middle of this crowd. It was so horrible. Like, I have claustrophobia, and I have social anxiety. So I'm in this sea of people. It's 100 degrees outside. I'm tired. I'm sweaty. I'm like, I can barely breathe already. And, you know, I've got people just barging past me, and like I can't. There's no semblance of order to this situation. Ken and some other people were yelling at each other because, like, Ken was getting really defensive of me because people wouldn't let me past. But, I mean, there was nothing that could be done. And so that was a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him for getting upset.
Of course not.
I'm not calling out, like, oh, Ken, you should have kept your shit together. Because I know he's going to think of it that way.
No. The one time I allow people to get really angry is in defense of a loved one.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's kind of what they're for.
Yeah. Eventually he was like, you just go, I'll catch up with you. And I, like, that freaked me out, but he would not come with me. It was like losing someone. Like, we're out at sea, and we're drifting along and our boards that we're hanging onto have gotten separated, and I'm just
You're like Wilson.
Yeah, exactly. And so I finally made it out, and I just sat on the street corner and cried, and like someone came over and gave me water, which was really nice. It was hot water at that point, but whatever, it was still water. And then Ken finally made it out, and I was just like, let's never do this again, please.
Yeah. Downtown Austin, Texas should be fucking illegal.
It's
like more than every other downtown.
Well, and I mean, people come into town to do this whole pride thing. So
yeah.
Also, if I had to guess, considering it's Austin and this is Texas, you probably get a lot of straight allies straighten up the place. But also, even if they're doing their best, just making there be more people than there even already are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
like, is there aren't already enough goddamn people?
Yeah, because like your description of the sea of people going to the bars. I used to drive Uber down there on Thursday nights for Thirsty Thursdays. That's just downtown. Like it's always
absurd.
like
it's
that.
Absurd.
I can't imagine.
6th Street is fucking stupid as shit.
I can't imagine what that's like with all of the gays there. Like it's just it's
instead
nuts.
of just most of them.
Most of them.
We had parked on 9th and Guadalupe. When I got out of the crowd, I was on 9th and Lavaca, or 4th and Lavaca.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. It was a hell of a time.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, to Ken's credit, after I was like, let's never do this again, he's like, let's not be absolutist about this. Let's, wait until next year and see how you feel. And I'm like, I never want to do this again. I know I'm never going to want to do this again. But
maybe there will be a Pride adjacent thing, like an after party meetup thing where you can still go and let your gay flag fly, but not have to deal with everything else.
I'm sure East Austin is chill during that time.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe.
East Austin's cooler than downtown Austin anyway. Go hang out in East Austin.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure people are doing pride shit and like shows and stuff. Like that's I'm always hanging out. I was always hanging out in East Austin during like South by.
Here's another thing. The reason, Blizzard went as a company. We got paid for it. So
there's that.
Yeah, there is that.
Well, still, you could go for just a second, and then you peace out when no one's looking and go to Stay Gold.
Yeah, I mean, someone had mentioned that like there have been like
or drinks. Ugh, I love drinks. The bar, not the concept.
Okay. I mean, I like the concepts. So,
well, yeah, I like the concept
but. They said something about there were like 400,000 plus people there, and it's just
Jesus
like, holy
Christ.
shit.
That's like, isn't that like the population of the city essentially?
Yeah, something like that.
I believe it's a city of like 500. I think it's like a city of 500,000. Yeah, so they got all the gays in Austin, but also all the gays from all the other towns. It's like, look, how about half of y'all go to Waco? They could use a bit more gay over there.
Waco desperately needs some gay.
Okay, what if someone convinced literally all the people going to Pride, like let's just do Pride in Waco this year, and we just descend upon Waco and just like like all of the Bader people are just like, good heavens, and they're fanning themselves.
Oh, I do declare.
We're all crammed into like the 3 bars that there are.
That would be great.
That's my new good idea.
Yes.
Except they closed Health Camp in Waco, so I even go. Like, Paparillo's is great, but other than that, there's like nothing good left in Waco.
I never even went to Health Camp.
Oh, Health Camp is great. It was a burger joint.
There's
Exactly.
There's Paparillo's, like he said. There's there's lots of Mexican restaurants, but there's the one downtown one that's nice. It's just like a lady's name. But yeah, now that I think about it, most of the good restaurants. I was like, Waco's got lots of good restaurants. Then I was like, oh wait, no, they're literally all like bougie, like hipster brunch places. Yeah, literally all of them.
There's hipster brunch places or awesome chains that started in Waco, but you can get Bush's Chicken in Round Rock, so only drive a quarter of the way there and you're fine. You don't have to deal with Waco anymore.
The gays just colonized like the 4 Keyneses.
Yeah. My week was much less interesting than that. What about you, Maddie?
I don't know. It's been a hot minute. I've been up to all sorts of shenanigans. I don't know, some bullshit. Have we even talked since I went home to my family? No, I don't think we really have.
I don't think we have.
Yeah, that was post Dragon Quest. I did this whole shenanigans where my sister got married. And I had to dress like a boy because of my dad, but it was tough. But also, I looked really hot. I was like, "Look, I'm gonna be like."
You had that pantsuit energy. Like every time a girl wears a pantsuit,
if I'm gonna look like a boy, I'm at least gonna be hot.
You were being a drag king.
Yeah.
Basically, and but at any rate, no, it was a good time. There were a whole lot of emotions, for a variety of reasons, and I guess I shouldn't say things that are super private in case, I don't know. First of all, if you're a member of my family, you shouldn't be listening to this podcast. You are not allowed.
Second, why haven't we talked about RPGs more?
Yes. But anyway, I don't know. It's been a lot of bullshit. Life's been complicated, but it always is. But like, it's good. I'm doing great. I've been thinking about watching some movies. I haven't actually watched them, of course.
Man.
Watches movies.
That's what I did this week. I fucking watched Good Omens.
Oh, nice. Is it good?
Oh my god, it's so good.
Good. I heard it was good.
Definitely watch it. What?
It's Amazon joint.
Amazon joint. Cool. It's a movie? I thought it was a show.
No, it's a miniseries. You said movies, but I thought of things I watched, and that was...
Nowadays, it's like the same shit anyway.
Yeah,
for sure. But,
anyway, I'm ready to talk about a video game.
Yeah. So, I want to try something new, and we'll see how it works. Instead of just plopping in the game soundtracks whenever we talk about them, which means I have to actively listen to when I edit, I'm just going to use them to transition between our sections. That way we get some OST love for each episode, but also, like I said, I don't have to wait and try and listen for when we're like, oh yeah, the music was good, and then type thing, because a lot of times I miss those.
The music is good.
I didn't put in music for like most of Final Fantasy X because I just would miss it. I'm like, that's weird. Oops. We didn't talk about stuff. And then I go back and I listen to the episode in the car, and it's like, yeah, this thing was great. And then like a pause where I could have put in the music, and I'm like, well, sucks to be me.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah. So let's listen to some sweet, sweet music by Hyperduck Soundworks, and then we'll get started with the game.
Hell yeah.
our game starts in the middle of things after a technically snazzy intro that I don't like, but I don't like it for the reason I don't like any of the art in this game. It's like low resolution but high color density, so it's not pixel art. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It is just low res. And everyone's like, the pixel art is great in this game, and I'm like, I haven't seen any yet. But
yeah, no, the character portraits. I'm sorry, it's me and you can bitch about the philosophical wrongness of this later. But yes, it's a thing. I will say the intro. Neither of y'all played Snatcher, right?
I don't know what the hell that is.
Oh, Snatcher's so good. It's a cyberpunk VN by Hideo Kojima, made in the. I think the original version might have been made in like '89 or something, but the most popular version was on the Sega CD. Anyway, this intro is I think very clearly ripping off of riffing on Snatcher. You might think it's riffing on Blade Runner, but guess what? So was Snatcher. And it is funny. It's like this is obviously a much lower budget. Actually, I don't even know. This is probably a much lower budget game than Snatcher, because Snatcher was made by Konami. On the other hand, it was a VN made by Konami in the early 90s, where like it was harder to make games back then.
Yeah.
You know? Like the technology wasn't as good. So it is funny. It's just like comparing the technological complexity of something that was made on a bigger budget a long time ago versus something made on a smaller budget today. You know, it's interesting. I'll just go ahead and say it's not as good as the one in Snatcher, but it is still good. And the music is the music in this game. Sometimes it's like funky and rock, and sometimes it's like jazzy. But whenever it's doing a scene about someone flying in a car, it sounds like Blade Runner.
Nice.
Did you notice that? Because it's like literally just the cutscenes where people are flying around and there's like wide shots of the city. It's like, oh, now you're doing Vangelis. Okay.
Yeah. Love it.
So that's what happens in this cutscene.
Yeah. So we meet our hero, Alyssa, and she's on a mission to save some hostages from Nakatomi Plaza. And
basically.
And she has a quote-unquote guy in the chair, to quote Ned from Spider-Man. And the guy in the chair's name is Dave, and he's just Sam Allman. That's me. That's what I look like. That's just if you've never seen my face in real life, I'm Dave. That's literally me.
If we wanted to do the thing where we do fan art of ourselves of different game characters, we wouldn't need to do one for you.
No, we just put this guy.
We've got Dave.
Yeah, so we go through a few tutorials that lead us into the battle section. And Maddie, do you want to describe how the battles work? Because you seemed like you really loved it in the chat.
Okay, yeah. So as y'all may have mentioned me briefly alluding to before, I have strong feelings about this developer. And have previously shit-talked them in some hopefully not too mean ways, because I don't want to shit-talk a fellow indie dev.
Because making games is super hard, and accomplishing that at all. Making games is very hard,
and I'll try your best. However, I also think that they are very misguided and stupid in some of their older games. This game, though, the battle system is good as shit. I think it's really, really good. It's based on... It's sort of based on abilities with cooldowns, which is my least favorite game idea. I think cooldowns are just lazy game design, and I blame Blizzard for popularizing them.
Yeah.
I'm joking. Lots of game designers did cooldowns, not just Blizzard. Anyway, I think it's lazy game design, but this game doesn't do... But it's not exactly cooldowns. You have to waste a turn by defending to refresh your actions, which
that
is
means
about... It's 10 billion times more interesting. Yeah, which means it's a card-based battle system. Yeah. It's so card-based that I'm like, honestly, it might be better if it actually was card-based. Like, instead of having the same abilities every battle, you actually were drawing them. However, the way it is very good. You have a set of abilities. Eventually you will have too many abilities to fit in your menu at once, and will have to presumably pick one or the other, though I, in my playthrough, just now got enough to fill up my last slot, so I haven't had to make any hard deck building decisions yet.
Same.
But every character has one reusable ability, and it's not always the basic attack, which is fun. And then a bunch of ones that need to be recharged.
Does Dave have a reusable? I don't remember.
Yes.
His reusable ability is just the one that builds
his style. Yeah, that's what it is.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, I remembered it was, if he had one, it was one of his buffs, because I know it's not his attack, because, like, 90% of the time I would, like, heal on his turn or something and forget that I needed to defend and just waste his style turn where he's all Super Saiyan and shit. I'm like, yeah, defend. This is a super defend.
The battle system has just a couple of attributes. I won't go into all the quirks too much, but you have attacks. They need to be refilled. And then each character also has special attacks that are tied to their equipment, and those are once per battle. And then you also have items, and items are infinite use. They're not consumable, and they are shared by the whole party, so anyone can use them, but they are also once per battle. So basically they're encounter abilities that can be used by anybody. And you just gotta make it work. And one of the game's main mechanics, and this is a mechanic shared by earlier The Void games, even the ones I don't like, is that your characters get stronger as the battle progresses. Every time you attack, your style percentage goes up, and the more it goes up, it's literally just a multiplier on your attacks. The older games, I believe, did it in a cruder, less interesting way. And the bosses, the bad guys, also have style meters. So basically, the longer the battle goes on, just the bigger the numbers are. And if you're playing on the second to hardest skill level like me, you'll get to a battle where it's like, if this battle goes on long enough, it just becomes unwinnable because the enemy can do more health than you have and damage every turn.
I am shamelessly playing on easy mode.
Yeah, it's like, because, and it's not like, it's like you should have beaten him before it got to this point, right? But it is a little bit more nuanced than that. If you get, there are things that can lower your style. There's this whole system where if you quote unquote die, you don't actually die for one turn. It's almost like Mother's rolling health system. I won't go into that, but it's cool. It refills here.
One quick thing about that health system though is it says that your self healing is lowered. Because this game does a lot of things that tries to make you think support abilities, which I actually really enjoyed. Like, there's a lot of things where it's like, self-healing and self-buffs don't work as well as buffing other characters. But in that desperation moment, it says that it's weakened, but I still healed myself to full every time. So it's not that weakened.
Yeah, if I have one criticism of the game, which I won't go into this, especially because it might not matter later, but it does the Persona 4 thing too, where I think most of the numbers are too big relative to your health pool and the enemies' health pools. Which is to say, if every enemy is doing over 50% of your health every turn, and all of your heal cells heal you to full, then it just feels like you're just oscillating between full health and almost dead every other fucking turn. Instead of having like a gradual tension that builds, it's just like they hit you and then you heal. But I do want to talk about one quick thing, that these had the tutorial battles. Do y'all remember the second tutorial battle?
The grappling hook one?
Yeah,
that's the one I was about to talk about.
Oh, okay, you go into it, because it's a little clever bit of design there.
Yeah, so at first when it started, I was like, oh crap, we have our elevator battle, like, because I haven't mentioned it right now, but Alyssa has Chrono's run animation from Chrono Trigger, which is the worst sprite work in all of Chrono Trigger. Chrono's run. It's
not a good animation. It's very weak and tepid.
Yeah, and so he copied the worst part of Chrono Trigger there. The second worst part is there's so many elevator battles in Chrono Trigger, which is the worst JRPG trope. And so I thought that's what this was going to be right out of the gate. But actually, what it is it's a learn on the fly tutorial to force you to understand how to refresh your abilities and stuff. Because you're using one hand to grappling hook up, you can't use your basic reusable attack move. So you have to use all of your spells and stuff to understand the cards of it all. To know, oh, I have to refresh, here's how I defend, those sorts of things.
So literally your melee character is an attacker. Your player character is a melee attacker, and they literally just use this whole you're currently grappling up the side of a wall thing as just a clever cinematic way to make it where you can't use your melee attack.
Yeah.
Very, very, very clever. I was like, okay, this game's cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah. So we get to the top of the tower, and we meet Chan, who is a gunmancer. That is a magician who summons guns. She says she's supposed to be on vacation, but was bored and wanted to join your mission. And that's her whole character right there. Is just she was bored and wants to work. And that's it.
Fucking bootlicker.
Yeah.
There's so much to her. She's deep.
I actually like her a lot. Her quips are not as bad as everyone's quips, but I wish everyone would stop quipping in this game.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And
I wish there was fewer quipping and more equipping, if you know what I mean.
True.
Yes.
But she has the Star Wars reference later, so she's good in my book. But yeah. So we meet her, and she joins our mission. So then we go through a few more battles where we learn like how party dynamics work, which is really cool. At this point, I realized. So we didn't mention it in the when talking about the battles, but each character has a certain number of turns that, like, on their for Alyssa, it's her third turn, and for Chan, it's her fourth turn. They're super powerful for a turn, and so the part of the puzzle of the battle is like, okay, what buffs can I get off before I reach my Super Saiyan turn so that I can maximize my damage output? And so it was right in here that I was like, okay, well, Alyssa will buff Chan, who will then use focus so that on Chan's third turn, she will be Super Saiyan with a gunshot that can shoot everybody in the room and do bukus of damage and shit like that.
There's totally like a rhythm to it. It's cool.
Yeah, I really dug it. So you go through a few more battles, and you come to the boss of the area, and also you come to the true boss of the game, which is the writing quality of this game.
God.
The boss does "they're right behind me, aren't they?" trope, and it's not very good. But the battles slap and the music slaps, and really that's enough for me. Like, I'm gonna enjoy playing the game because it's fun to, like, the gameplay is fun and the music is good while I'm playing.
Yeah.
And for JRPGs, those are the most important parts. Like, if you have a badass story and your gameplay is boring, people aren't going to play it. If you have a badass story, if you have a badass gameplay, but the sound is really grating and bad, people aren't going to play it unless maybe they put it on mute. But it's like.
Look, if the music's good, I don't care if the plot and the gameplay are bad. I'll play your game.
Yeah, so the boss has two phases, one where it's a dude on foot and one where it's a dude in a mech. How is this fight for you guys?
I mean, I played on super easy mode, so it was super easy.
The first of the two battles where it's a guy, I believe, was my first wipe of the game. But really, I tried again. I was like, okay, let's try this time, and it was quite easy. I'm realizing our typical thing where we stop on bosses to ask how it was doesn't really work in this game.
Because every battle's
a boss.
Yeah. They're all scripted. There's nothing.
Yeah, the game's got
random.
all scripted battles,
which
and
I appreciate personally.
Yeah. Well, also, in this game does what you're supposed to do if you're doing this sort of vibe, which is make it where each battle is like a thing.
Yeah. My wipe was not on a boss. My wipe was on just there's a particular fight when you're escaping where you have one of each of the mobs in the area. So you have the tank one, you have that
one
immobile.
wiped me as well. That one was fucking hard. Yes.
Which mode are you playing, Sam?
I'm playing on normal.
Oh, okay.
Which
cool.
which I suggest if you're getting a little bored with it,
no, I'm quite happy playing on easy mode actually.
but normal isn't much harder. It just like makes the battles count. So if you feel like it, go for it. If not, no judgment. I don't care. If they put it in the game, you're supposed to play it.
Hard mode is like 50% of the battles I could breeze through as long as I was just paying a little bit of attention. 40% of the battles were like, okay, let me think about my actions for a second. And then every couple of battles, maybe a good solid 10% of them were just like boss battles, basically, where I was just like, okay, son of a bitch. This is tough. I think I only actually wiped 3 times. So I wiped here, and then, the one that Sam talked about, and then the final boss of this week. I wiped on once. No. There was one battle that I wiped like 4 times on. Quick criticism of the game. Don't give the player the ability to restart the battle after losing for free if you're not also going to give them the ability to back up to just before the battle and save.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I would get to points where it's like, oh, I haven't saved in a while. I can restart the battle infinitely, but I can't do anything besides try the battle infinitely or load my save. I can't, like, do a grind or relook or rearrange my equipment. It's only continue throwing my head against this or reset my game.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But every time that happened, I did throw my head against it, and you can save any time. But the thing about being able to save any time is that if you can save any time, you never forget.
Yeah.
Of course, I remember now. Now I save after almost every battle, but it's like you forget, right?
Yeah. I'm playing Mega Man Battle Network again, which also slaps, and also I'm doing a JRPG canon about it because it slaps harder than I thought it did. But
nice.
So that one also you save anywhere, which is great because I'm playing it on the 3DS, and GBA games don't pause when you close it, so I have to exit the game.
Right.
So since I'm playing at work, the ability that, because like every battle, even boss battles, lasts like 2 minutes tops. So the ability to basically get out of a battle and save at any point is awesome. But also on my lunch break, I didn't have to save every 5 seconds, so I died and wiped on some random mob in Mega Man and lost like my whole lunch worth of progress because you just forget to save.
Yeah, but I just think like there's no functional difference, right? Like Chrono Cross, you can run from any battle, so it's like instead of being able to restart a battle, how about click exit battle, and now all of a sudden you're 2 steps before the cutscene. Right?
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, it's a minor nitpick, but also it's like, because the game does go so hard on this whole like breezy user friendliness, I noticed that, whereas I wouldn't have cared if it was Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy.
Yeah. The Tales of series I think does it the best, where they give you a 3 choices. You can restart the battle, you can pull up your menu, or you can load your save. So you don't get to go and grind anything, but you can definitely be like, oh, I was in the middle of like leveling up this person's white mage skills, and they're my melee attacker, so let me go and undo that so I can get back in the fight.
In this game, it'd be like, oh, let me switch out one of my items.
Yeah, something like that. Even if it was just like that, would be a lot. But yeah, so after the fight, Dave calls in and says he detected a bomb in the building and you need to go defuse it. So Chan saves all of the hostages and tells people to evacuate the city while you go and defuse it. And I was expecting this to be dramatic, and so I took a lot of screenshots, and it's not.
Nope.
You just go and defuse it.
They didn't even... I mean, this is so clearly just like Mako bombing mission, but like... They didn't do a timer on screen. There weren't battles. I was just like, oh, a timed escape sequence. No, it's not. I ran down a hallway, and then she did the thing.
And then when you get to the bomb, it's not even like they cut in for drama. Like they love these not pixel art cut-ins, and they didn't use one for her defusing the bomb. She's just like, well, I've never done this before. And Dave's like, you're really giving me a lot of confidence. Doesn't even fade to black. And then she goes, yeah, I did it. It's good.
Yeah.
I do like how all the characters in this game are just exorbitantly competent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, any computer, what's his name later, is just like, I hacked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. But so after you defuse the bomb, you head back to your super secret spy headquarters, which is underneath some factory, which comes into play at the end of next chapter. And so you then talk to all the NPCs, and you realize that all of them are better written than most of your party characters because they only talk once, and it's when your party characters talk over and over that they're a problem.
Yeah, some of the NPCs are pretty decent.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to mention some of those in my memorable moments later.
Yeah, I when I was scrolling through my screenshots earlier to write my notes, the plot, I had like one screenshot per chapter, but this part right here with all of the NPCs, I screenshotted most of them. But yeah, so you go and talk to a boy named Sue, and he tells you that he's going to send you on another mission, and he was supposed to send you with this girl named Echo, which you can find in the base, and she like bitch faces at you, and he's like, I was going to send you with Echo, but I said that you would have better results if we sent you with someone you're more comfortable with. So Chan and Dave are going to come with you, and Dave is super excited because he gets to have an away mission and not just be a guy in a chair. So yeah, the mission you're going on is to a forest planet that's super radioactive and shit, and the terrorist organization called Estrella has been active in the area. So you get to go do a jungle dungeon.
Let's pause real fast. There's one more plot thing that happens here. You meet your boss, who is very clearly the villain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Literally from his first scene, you talk to him, and he's like looking all cool and wearing sunglasses, and he's like, "Hello, Alyssa," and ominous music is playing, and he's like, "You've done well. Go here to get your next mission."
Yeah.
And I don't think he even says anything ominous. No, I think he does. He's just like weirdly vague, you know. He's just like, it's good to see your loyalty.
Yeah.
Your loyalty will be rewarded.
Yeah.
You have done great in advancing our goals. ... Ominous music, ominous music, ominous music. And I'm like, wow, he's definitely going to be revealed as the villain at the end of Act 1.
Yep.
Turns out he's revealed as the villain even earlier than that.
Yeah.
I legitimately was expecting him to be revealed as a villain, like, I don't know, next week?
Yeah.
So
not one dungeon from now.
Not one dungeon from now? Yeah, not 2/3 of the way through this week.
Though I do gotta say that they... here at the end of this one, spoilers for a second from now, that I thought Sue would be the same way, because he also has glasses on and he's also talking about the mission, and so he shows up and you're like, fuck, we have a boss fight with Sue, and then he's like, nah, you guys rule, let's fucking go.
Yeah,
I'm on your side.
Also,
So-
to be fair, when Sue first showed up, I actually forgot that I got Sue and the boss mixed up. So in Sue showed up,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's the villain. And I was like, oh wait, no, it's the other guy.
It's the villain. Because then the boss does show up. But yeah, so Jungle Dungeon. The Jungle Dungeon is pretty easy. I accidentally solved it because I breadth first searched instead of depth first searched. And so I was like, oh, here's the door. That's obviously where I'm supposed to go. Let me go find everything else. And I ended up finding all of the scientists and Chan's fire gun summon on accident before I even knew what I was supposed to be doing.
Oh, that's funny.
So that made the next scene even stupider. It already was stupid. Because the joke they wanted to do was you try and open this door and it doesn't work. So you leave to go and find an alternate way in, and you find one, so then you come back and the door is already open because it did work the first time. Me explaining it now is funnier than it is in the game.
Well, no. That's actually not how it works, though, because or maybe the way that you thought was stupid, Sam, was actually just how it is for everybody. What happens is you go to hack the door, and Dave is like, "Oh, I set up a program to hack the door, but it'll take a bit." And at first they were like, "Should we wait to open the door or find another way?" And at first I thought, is this like a Final Fantasy VII thing where I can pick either option? No. And then I realized, it's like a cute little gating thing. The door is just the hacking program is going to just all of a sudden magically work when it is deemed plot appropriate, right? But yeah, what happens is after the following scene, you get a key card, and then you go to the key card to the door, but then the hacking program works and the door opens.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, I guess I don't need this key card.
My main beef with it is the writing was so obvious that this is what was going to happen. They could have said nothing and it would have been hilarious. But they all were just like, are you sure you want to leave? Because if we leave, like, what if it's done? We should just wait on it, right? Wouldn't we wait on it and it would be done? It would be so cool, right? And it like ruined it for me.
They're like, did you get the joke?
We're funny, right, guys? Someone please like us.
Yeah. Just pity laugh. Just pity laugh, please.
Please clap.
Please clap. Speaking of which, did you see that DeBasio had a thing in the swing state of Ohio, and when he got there, only 12 people showed up.
Oh,
good old DeBasio.
I love it. Anywho, so yeah, then we go into the second part of this chapter's dungeon, which is a haunted-esque old radiation blown up factory, and this is also where I ran out of notes, so pause, let me get my Vita. But
I'll fill in one thing. We meet an old fucked up AI.
Yeah.
In which another case of the game's weird writing, where they're not going to commit to anything. Alyssa's like, what happened here? And he goes, I really shouldn't, since that's classified information, but since my owners are dead and we're such good friends, I will. And I'm like, okay, but an AI can't just go against its protocol just because it wants to for the sake of a joke. That's not, you can't, no, you have to have consistency in your world. That way the humor lands. You can't just flippantly be like, lol, anyway, whatever.
Hey, Maddie, as a fellow Tran, why are we gendering the AI? It didn't have a gender specified.
That's a good point. We shouldn't gender the AI.
Yeah.
Because he's dumb, which means he's a boy.
So they're automatically a boy.
Then again, I'm also dumb, so there you go.
I didn't have anything else to add. I just wanted to bring up a snarky bullshit talking point.
No, that's fair. In my headcanon, it's basically what's his name? The dumb bad AI from Portal 2. But it could be any dumb person in your head.
Let's go with Wheatley. It's Wheatley.
Yeah. But so you meet Wheatley.
Except I like Wheatley.
True. I thought I was going to like this person, and I feel like one of two changes should have happened, and I would have liked this AI. Either it tones itself down a little bit, or gets a stupid computer screen talking head and doesn't change a thing. If it had the computer screen talking head to not just be a disembodied voice that pops up and you have to you have to do all the work right now. If the picture was there to do part of the work, it would sell the super friendly thing, and you would give it emoji eyes and stuff like that. I feel,
but Sam, the picture would have been the wrong resolution and color palette, and then you would have gotten upset about it.
I know. I just want my cake and want to eat it too. Okay. So you make your way through this dungeon, which I kind of actually really liked. I don't have many screenshots from it because I liked it a lot, and I just wanted to play the game, which is always a good sign. Every time it's my turn to write the notes, I look at all the screenshots I took, and they're missing on the important parts because I was into the game too much.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I get invested, and then I forget to take screenshots.
Yeah, so...
But I agree, this dungeon was good. It had good battles, nice design, music slapped, the works.
Yeah, so the AI mentions a spooky beastie that was killing everybody and killed a whole bunch of things, and it's hopefully you last longer than the last 352 people did, and so then you are making your way through, and you find the beast, and you fight it, and
it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
But not that hard.
Not really. And then it does the thing where you win the battle, but then it cuts to your characters, and they're like, "Oh, this was super difficult, and we have to do a special move, even if you were playing on easy and you breezed right through it." Rogue Galaxy was the worst with that, where like I would illusion sword and win in a second, and then would cut out, and all 7 of my characters, 4 of which are supposed to be back on the fucking ship, are just like, and I'm like, why? all you did was Simon's rocket move and just killed him in one hit. Why are you tired?
I just realized someone could totally, maybe I could do this, make a game where put some code in the game where like measure if the player like kicked a boss's ass or not, like how many turns it took, whether it got your HP down at all, and if you pass a certain threshold that is detected, switch to a different cutscene where everyone's just like, we kicked its ass.
Yeah, that would be.
It'd be a lot of work, but it'd be funny.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. But yeah. So after you kill the beast in a little cutscene, it like brings the roof down and separates the party, and so you get half of the dungeon where you're just Alyssa, and you have to rely on her battle abilities to get you through some fights, and then you get to the other half where you're playing as Chon and Dave, and that one's more puzzle based because I don't think there's any fights over there, not until Alyssa shows up, and so you're just focusing on it's just a switch puzzle, but it's still a puzzle, which is more than you can say in most JRPGs. So so then everyone teams back up, and you realize that because every time you've been killing some robots, they've kind of been gluing their corpses back together and fighting you some more, and you realize that they don't care if it's a robot or an organic, and so then you fight a robot version of the Beastie for the final boss here, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, so they're like creepily fucked up necromancing all the organic things into weird monstrosity type deals.
I liked the idea a lot.
Yeah,
because I don't see things like that very often.
You're really gonna like Mother 3.
Excellent.
There's a whole scenario in Mother 3 that is essentially this, and it's good.
Oh, awesome. I still need to finish Earthbound. Oh, God.
Yeah. So, along the way, when you've been hacking computers to open doors and stuff, Dave has been gathering information, and he finds something called Project Lumina, I believe. Yeah, Project Lumina. And
that sounds like it's definitely totally good and normal.
Yeah. And you also find like some hard drives or something that have all of the info on them, and you take them back to base. But the next night, Alyssa wakes up in a cutscene, and looking here at my screenshot, it's actually moderately pixel art, so I'll allow it. It's like PC 98 pixel art, so it's still pretty high color palette pixel art, but it's better than normal, so I'll take what I can get. It at least has...
what happens in Alyssa's dream?
I don't remember.
She dreams about, like, she's getting injected with something.
Yeah.
That's right.
There's two things. She dreams that there's some kind of weird robot-y thing up in her face, and then she also dreams that, like, there's a big evil-looking city. It looks kind of like Vector from FF6. And then there's a bunch of bad guys looking like they're at, like, a bad guy rally and being like, rah! So there's just, like, ominous, like... villains being like rally, like gathering, the hordes or whatever, and then there's also her. So maybe it's something from her past, who knows, whatever. But it's pretty vague as far as ominous dreams go.
Yeah, and when she wakes up, she's in like a cold sweat type thing too, so it obviously means something to her. So when you regain control, you're now back top view, still in her room. On my, if I were writing the script for this game, I would say interior Alyssa's room continuous, and And so Chon and Dave come and wake you up in the middle of the night, and Dave is like, yeah, so I was looking through the files that we got, and Project Lumina is much more advanced than we thought. It is basically mind control that like hacks into everybody's like cyborg shit and like takes them over. So this is bad. We work for bad people. Let's go and take the bad people out from the inside. And
yeah, it's very fast. There is a good bit of lore dump building here that we should go over a little bit of it.
Yeah, I'm reading it now to sum it up. But if you know it offhand,
I mean, I just played it last night. So basically, back in the past, there was technology that people were doing cyberpunk shit, and they kind of went too far with it. They were doing cyberpunk shit that was like interfacing directly with your brain, and like interfacing directly with your brain in like a very, very direct way.
I say their cyberpunk shit didn't go too far enough.
Anyway, apparently some bad thing happened where a bunch of people started just basically they would either go into like comas and it would fuck them up, or they would like turn feral and start like eating people and stuff,
like you do.
So they overdid it. So after that, they passed laws and even designed protocols into all their shit that was like, thou shalt not disfigure the soul, basically. And basically it's like, okay, computers aren't allowed to directly like interlink with people's minds. And apparently that's how it's been for like 100 years or something like that. But Project Lumina will destroy that barrier. It's like a workaround so that they can bypass all those protections. But then also it goes a step farther. So not only would people be able to re-unlock the potential of this old technology that is more direct like interface and thus have more amazing powers and stuff that could be dangerous, but also yes, it could go so far. It could even go so far as to look more like.
That's an antique. Be careful with that one.
The worst part is every time I quote that, I'm like, did I get all of it? Yeah, I did. And then I actually look up the quote, and it's twice as long.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So it's just the bad guys want to turn humans into horses. They want to control everyone's minds. Director Steele, the guy who was obviously an evil villain earlier, is in fact an evil villain. Also, the organization you work for, that half the NPCs were joking about, lol, they do loyalty sweeps and kill people. Yeah, lol, turns out they're bad. Turns out the CIA is bad, actually.
What a shock. What a fucking shock.
So there we go.
Yeah, so...
Hold on, so you got Director Steele saying stuff like, the Lumina Project has the potential to heal the wounded mind. No longer will humanity struggle against itself. All the taboos that bind us will be shattered. The Agency of Peace and Intelligence will finally fulfill its name. Humanity will rule over all. And I'm like, do you hear yourself?
Here's the thing about this. I'm bad at predicting stuff. I'm very bad at predicting stuff. I predicted every beat in this game.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they're trying to make it where you can't predict it. I'm pretty sure they're intentionally like, we all know this is going to happen.
I suppose.
Especially because it happened so quick. If this was
Hopefully
supposed to be
some legit twist later.
Yeah,
if this was supposed to be the twist of the game, it's heavy-handed. But I think they're just trying to get all of the mileage out of the you saw this coming thing as in the first 2 chapters, so that here at the end of chapter 3 you can fight him and it'll be worth it. But so our job is now to break in, steal the Lumina prototypes, and get out and figure out some way to counter this technology. So you make your way. So you now are infiltrating your work instead of just walking around it, and nobody seems to stop you. You could still stop and talk at the shop. You can talk to all your buddies. Like, everyone's just like, hey, what's up? And you're like, nothing, top secret mission, no big deal.
I really liked how everyone had the exact same dialogue.
Yeah.
I guess you could say it's lazy, but no, it's like, no, you were just here yesterday. All the NPCs are saying the same shit. It's just a normal day for everybody but you.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So then you make your way down, and this Switch dungeon was a cool variation on it. You had to find the right colors to unlock your way through, and just like in a Zelda color dungeon, it would opening one way would close another, and you would have to loop back around on yourself a couple of times. I really liked it. Yeah. So you make your way down to floor 348 out of 14,385. Yeah, definitely not a horribly
evil corporation.
Yeah. But so you make your way in there, and then here's our boy named Sue, and he gets this really cool, dramatic, villain-esque cutscene where, like, you see him walk up, and then it, like, pans up to him, and he does the, like, kung fu, like, hand come at me, bro thing. But turns out that he's on your side, and so he's like, hey, I heard there were intruders. I figured they might be you. Did you find something incriminating? And Dave is like, yeah, it's mind control. And he's like, well, that's fucking treason, so let's go and punch him. And
he basically had a hunch something was up with Steel all along, and then as soon as you say what it is, he's like, yeah, okay, I'm a good person, not a bad person, so yeah, I'm totally fine with being, committing treason.
Yeah. And I just as an aside on Sue, so like Alyssa, Chan, and Dave are kind of just water, fire, and electricity, and they basically do the same thing. Dave has a couple special things, but like even with Alyssa and Chan, there's not much different between them at all. But Sue is so crazy different. He has buffs, he has counters, he has
his counters are strong.
Yeah.
And he has a feint where you fight weak this turn to power up whatever you want to do next turn, but it still punches, which is really cool. And like I really enjoy playing with him. I'm going to hold on to him as much as I can.
I thought he was a very interesting character.
He's cool as heck. Again, especially his counter. I would pretty much use his counter as the first turn every turn because he's doing like 100 damage every time an enemy hits him, and then he has a lot of health. So every time the enemies get a turn, I'm like praying like attack Sue, attack Sue, attack Sue.
There's a lot of enemies in this area too that do AoE damage. So
which I think is very intentional.
That helps a lot, and so getting him powered up immediately is a good move.
One thing I noticed about this game that I really like, it kind of reduced the RPG aspect of it because it made it a little bit more linear and controlled, and I'm not actually having any control over everything, but because the game is so linear and because your character's development is very constrained, the only options you learn abilities on level up. And also, when your hackitude stat gets high enough, you unlock new abilities for your shield.
I was wondering what the hell that meant.
The thing is, you're because there's a fixed number of battles in this game, unless you go into the menu and pick battle to do more. You can do grinding, but you very much don't have to. They had a very, very specific degree of control over what you have when, which is cool. So with most games, it's like, oh, I leveled up and unlocked new ability. I wonder how this can fit into my existing strategies. Let me try to fiddle with it. This game, it's like, you get a new ability, and literally the next battle, is an enemy where that ability is specifically useful. It's like, oh, the designers knew I'd be getting the ability specifically right here.
Yeah,
because of the amount of XP I get from each battle. It's like, oh, I just got an ability that buffs all in one turn. Look, the next battle is the very first battle featuring an enemy that does strong AoE damage. On one hand, it does feel a little bit contrived, and I don't really have any agency, because anytime I feel like I have a fun new ability, it's like, well, no, the designers just decided that this is the thing you get now, and now it's just the next challenge of the game that is actually part of the game. On the other hand, it was cool.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like Catherine in a way, where Catherine looks like a Persona. The game feels like a Persona. It has Persona-esque story, but every now and then you go in and you do a puzzle instead. And that's kind of what this feels like, where it looks and plays like an RPG, but it kind of feels like a puzzle game, because like every fight you get is a puzzle, and they do as much as they can to have a canon ability set that you have. Like you can swap out your equipment and use different stuff, and that'll probably
a little bit. Yeah.
That'll probably be like come more into play when you have more choices down the line. Right now it's like, do I want my weak shield or my strong shield? But like since they all have your abilities attached, it can it'll vary from there. But
like right now, if they took out all the RPG elements and every battle were just like Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Riku's path.
Yeah.
Oops, can you not hear me?
Yeah.
If they just did the Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories Riku path thing, where every battle was just like, no, you don't get to control anything in this game. Every battle, we just decide what abilities you have for you, and you just have to play a puzzle game using the abilities that are given to you. If they had done that, it wouldn't even be that different from what they're currently doing.
Yeah.
So, like, that's how it feels.
Cool. Yeah.
Which is neat.
Because, like, it makes me feel, and, like, I brought this up in my Mega Man Battle Network article, where, like, there is the ability for you to go in and min-max, more than likely. It feels like there's going to be, like, you can go and grind, you can find the optimal equipment, those sorts of things. Feel like those will be choices for you to make, but you can just bash every character to death pretty much and be okay with it. And so it's like it's very hyper specifically designed for this current thing, and that's what they give you at each certain part. But the RPG elements there give it more depth for people who want it, more than just people who are trying to just breeze through it. And I appreciate that in games. Like that's one thing why Pokemon is so good, because my sister asked me for help at the Elite Four, and all she had was a Mudkip. She had never caught a single Pokemon. She only had a Mudkip. And I'm like, how do you get through the game without being forced to catch at least a Rattata? And so, like, that is a viable strategy in Pokemon. There's also Smogon and all of these hyper-specific, super deep combat things.
Breeding
been there the whole time, but aren't as important to playing the game, which I appreciate. Yeah. But anywhoozy, so so after we talk with Sue, and we're like, oh, Sue isn't a bad guy. Oh, look, here's Commander Steel. I bet him showing up in body armor and like shooting lightning at us doesn't mean that he's a bad guy too, right? But alas, he is indeed a bad guy, and he's like, Alyssa, I had such high hopes for you. You could have been super evil like me. You too. And he calls Sue by his last name, which is long in Russian, and I'll let Maddie say it, not me.
It's also complete bullshit.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. It bugs me. They clearly were just like, let's slap a bunch of syllables together and then put ski on the end, and like maybe that's kind of the joke, but also it's dumb.
Yeah. It's like it's like a bad version of the joke from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, where Carl's last name is like Bertana Lana Lana Lusky or something.
Yeah,
exactly. I think it's basically like Borisovsky, which would be a little bit of a cute joke, because like Boris is a stereotypical Russian name, and then you add Ovsky on the end because that's Russian. Yeah. But it's got like 2 more syllables.
Yeah, it's Boris Susovsky is what it is, which is dumb.
Yeah.
Because they wanted him to have the nickname Sue, and so they threw in Sue into the middle of Borisovsky, which would have maybe...
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, it's dumb. They could have just called him... I don't know. If they wanted to give him like the jokey, like, oh, it's a guy with a girl name, they could have called him like Sasha. Here's the thing: in Russian,
Sasha's a boy's name.
Yeah, it's a nickname.
Also, in Russian diminutives, you often will nickname someone in a way that, to our Western American ears, sounds like a girl name. Like if someone's name is Dmitri, that's obviously a boy's name, but the nickname for Dmitri would be Dasha, which that sounds like to us a girl's name. So anyway, they could have just called him Sasha. Whatever.
I know a trans woman named Dasha too.
Oh, that's the thing. I know a Russian girl named Dasha as well, but that's also. But I guess I don't know what her actual name is. Anyway, whatever.
Anyways,
point is, they could have done it very easily.
Yeah. So Steele shows up and he monologues, except he says things that Dave already figured out, so it's nothing new. So he decides to do something new and summons a dragon, and it's cool. Like they even talk about how. Because Chan is a gunmancer, and she's like, you just gunmanced a robot dragon. That's fucked up. You're not supposed to use the sacred arts to summon a living thing. It's barbaric. And he's like, yeah, whatever. I made a dragon. I'm cooler than you. And he pieces out. And so Chan, being all religious, which one of my memorable moments will be about her religion later. I actually really liked it. But she's like, we can't let him get away with this. Let's put this beast out of its misery. And we have a boss fight with a dragon in the future. Did you guys have any trouble with this boss fight?
Super easy mode. Nope.
I whipped its ass.
I whipped its ass too. It was weak to both water and electricity, which means Alyssa and Dave just buffed for however many turns before their Super Saiyan turn, and then used their elemental move on their Super Saiyan turn, and it was down in like 2 or 3 rounds. So, yeah. So then Sue afterwards is like, not many people would be able to face down a summon of that power. I placed my trust in the right people, so I'm coming with you. Let's blow this joint. Except you have to actually escape. It felt like that would be the end of the chapter, but it's not.
So a whole another dungeon, and the enemies get significantly harder because they're making sure that you understand how to use your new party character. So it's like a whole ass thing.
Yeah, and it's way too hard. This is where I wiped real bad on the aforementioned robots. But this tough. This dungeon, I don't think I liked that much. Its shtick is conveyor belts, but the conveyor belts are really just more doors with switches. But they didn't do anything like cute with the fact that they were actually conveyor belts or anything. Like
they do have a very elaborate Chrono Trigger reference that made me kind of mad because they're referencing the most important scene and emotional and thematically important scene in the entire game, you know, with the conveyor belts and the person who is going to be crushed by a conveyor belt, and they kind of made a dumb joke out of it. And I'm like, you're just like offhandedly, like, you know how I feel like in our modern culture we have a tendency, especially nerd culture, to turn everything into a meme and like commoditize it some. And it's like, you know, maybe we shouldn't commoditize it. Maybe making endless like making jokes about like the cake is a lie. Well, first of all, that is dumb because it ruins the dramatic impact and the. First of all, it became infuriating hearing people talk about the cake being alive for like 10 fucking years.
Yes.
Somebody made a cake is alive reference at my sister's wedding, and I was like, wow, these people are normies.
Yeah.
Did somebody then take an arrow to the knee?
There were no arrow to the knee references. Also, when someone did the cake is alive reference, I think he was expecting someone to like get the reference and point it out, and I did, and I was like, I ain't saying shit. I am not giving you the acknowledgement of this reference. But at any rate, I don't know. I just think that like turning the Titus laughing scene into like a dumb meme. You know, it's just like not everything has to be turned into a dumb meme, guys.
Yeah.
So, but the joke actually was pretty funny. A person is going to be crushed.
Sorry, not to just to go off of the Titus laughing thing. That's become the meme when it's a dramatic part. When people die and Yuna keeps on dancing has such meme potential, and the few memes that have cashed in on that are so good, and everyone should make those jokes instead. From now on, if you're hearing me and you want to make a Final Fantasy X
that's
meme,
the new meme
that's
that we're
the
making.
one. Yeah. That's the new one. Did you see the one where she was Fortnite dancing in the background while Tidus was crying?
See, that's funny. Now I want to make one where she's like sending like Jeffrey Epstein or something, except not really, because he didn't actually die. It was a body double. Don't at me.
Oh my god! Don't start that. Don't spread that shit.
The ear, it's different. Anyway, so this girl who is named and has a special sprite, so I thought it was going to be like another party member joining us, is about to fall off of a conveyor belt, and she's like, "Help! Help! Help! Save me!" And again, this is actually an elaborate Chrono Trigger reference, where you have to put in a password into a computer in a very time-sensitive moment, and it's very difficult, and you probably will fail. And that's part of the game's plot.
The game is designed around you failing.
Yeah, it's like almost more like an Easter egg to get the password correct. Anyway, But in this case, she goes, "Please turn the conveyor belt off and save me. Oh wait, you'll need the password to activate the switch. It's 1234 password."
Yeah. So did you find the switch first?
No.
Okay, so if you find the switch first before you get over there, this makes it twice as funny, and it was in my memorable moments because of it. But Dave is like, "Man, it's locked out, and it doesn't have any access ports. I can't hack it. So it's old-fashioned password." Well, let's just see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, couldn't have been that lucky. And so then you go and you get the password as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 password.
So that's actually really funny. And then you save her, but then she's just like, "Thanks for saving me." It doesn't amount to anything.
Yeah, not at all. I could have at least given us a party member there, but
or like an item of some sort. Like, hey, here's a reward.
I legitimately was like, "Are you kidding me? Another party member? Jesus!"
Right? So I hear there's like 12 party members in this game, and party composition becomes a big thing later.
Yeah, I could tell because of the intro. I was like, "Wow, there's a lot of characters." Or no, in the trailer. The trailer had like a shit ton of characters in it.
Yeah, but
anyway, not much happens in this except that the battles get harder and harder. And then, does anything happen, or do we literally just fight a bunch of battles, leave to the world map, and then we're done?
I think we just fight a bunch of battles and leave to the world map. I don't remember there being a boss here. Let me check the LP.
There was a big guy, like at the very end where there's the
there's
two
a big guy there.
Also, if we're counting a boss as any battle that has the boss battle music, which makes sense to me from an empirical standpoint, I think there may be like actually 2 or 3 bosses, but they're not like plot cutscene bosses. It's just like, here's a special hard enemy with boss battle music.
Yeah. There's a big fight at the end at reception, which I didn't take any screenshots of, but yeah, they're like, "Oh hey, it's time to give yourself up," and you're like, "No." Because I'm Alyssa LaSalle, which is a stupid name. So you fight the bosses. Oh, I remember his shtick. He is a HP sponge that doesn't have many attacks, but he summons a bunch of little dorks that have really strong attacks.
Oh, I remember his shtick. I'm going to talk about it in my memorable moments because it's a great battle.
Yeah, but other than that, it looks like we just beat him, and then Sue is like, "Yeah, we did it. Let's get the fuck out of here." So,
and then it turned out the game has a world map, and then we save immediately.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did not expect this game to have a world map because the game hasn't had branching pathways so far.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's where we stopped. So let's listen to some more of that sweet, sweet soundtrack, and then we'll talk about our memorable moments. But yeah, memorable moments. Maddie, it sounded like you had one on the tip of your tongue. So
just the battle at the end is, again, I was playing on the second hardest skill level. Really good. We're like invigoratingly good. Yeah, the bad guy is an HP sponge, but what he does is every turn he can summon some buddies. But the buddies don't hit you. What the buddies do is they grab you. And when they grab you, they don't let go. In fact, the description of the enemy is grabs you and doesn't let go. And that enemy, and if an enemy grabs you, you lose your turn. You can't move. So the bad guy might summon like 2 of them, and then 2 of your party members are now out of commission. So with most battles, if a boss summons buddies, sometimes you want to kill the buddies, but other times it's just like, let's just hit the boss, right? And in this case, the buddies have a pretty decent bit of health. Like they're not like trivial one-hit kill. So it's like, let's just attack the boss. But the thing is, you get overwhelmed very quickly, and then they grab all 4 of you, and then you just die. Or you have one character that isn't paralyzed permanently. So crowd control becomes a very big deal in this game. But he summons them fast enough where if you're just hitting the summoned mobs, by the time you kill them, he summons more, and you never get to hurt the damn guy. So you have to find a balance and get pot shots. This game, I find in general, the solution to winning a battle if you can't beat it is generally be more aggressive.
Which is refreshing, because
don't spend as much time on buffs. Hit the fucking guy. But you still have to do some buffs. So anyway, it only took me 2 tries. But my first try, I got annihilated. My second try, I was like, let's try a little bit harder at this, and I used my brain real hard. And I guess since it only took me 2 tries, it wasn't the hardest battle that it took. But I loved it. I thought it was and it didn't feel like a puzzle either. It wasn't just like, once you figure out the trick, you win. It was like, no. There were some tensions that had to be resolved and sussed out, and knowing exactly like, is this next attack? Is this character's attack probably going like if the mob has like 110 health? You're thinking, okay, do I think this guy's attack is going to do 110 health or not? Should I attack the boss, or should I use because if you use an attack on the mob and it doesn't quite kill it, does 105 health, then you're like, fuck, that's the whole turn. Now I gotta, because the next guy could have killed him in his turn. So anyway, just a great battle, and I hope the game keeps it up. Good job, game.
So my memorable moments, I have several, and Maddie probably has more, but I got to talk about the Star Wars reference, because it was great, because it wasn't Zeboyd Games making a Star Wars reference, it was Chan making a Star Wars reference. And so the bad guy, you fight some dorks in the CIA headquarters, and they call in on the comms. They're like, we heard some blaster fire. Is anything going on in there? And she goes, we're totally fine here. Just a blaster malfunction. Nothing to see. We got this. A-okay, under control. And he's like, who's that? What? Who is this? Alert, send it to the... And then she shoots it. And instead of then playing it straight and just stealing it from Star Wars, Dave is like, are you done? And it's great, because
I didn't catch that aspect of it. I was annoyed because you told me the Star Wars reference, and I shit you not, the second I entered this dungeon, I was like, I know exactly what the Star Wars reference is going to be. And when it came, I was like, there it is.
Yeah. But yeah, Dave being like, you have to reference Star Wars right now. I really, really enjoyed.
I thought he was just annoyed by her being dumb, not her referencing Star Wars canonically.
Yeah, it felt like it could go either way, and I'm going to take the one that's funnier.
That's fair.
Yeah. So other than that, let's go back to this NPC heaven that I got going on back in the base. So this one I really liked. You come into the break room, and there's a guy, and he's like, wow, the woman across the table is so beautiful, and she's looking this way. Is she, I wonder if she's into me. So you go talk to the other lady, and she's like, yeah, with my last paycheck, I finally got a cyber eye upgrade, but I'm getting a firmware update right now, so I just have to keep my face perfectly still while it updates.
And I can't see anything.
I can't see anything. And it's just like, wow, that's great.
Cute.
I liked that bit.
It was good. Do you have any others, Eli?
Yes, actually I have a couple. There's one computer console that I went up to, and Dave goes, the security guards really like to pirate games. There's so many, and the play counts on these things, no wonder they got caught unprepared. And then in the area on the jungle planet where the big beast was, the rundown laboratory place, there's a spot of blood on the floor that you can examine, and it says the floor is covered with blood, quite possibly from someone named Chris. And I'm like, I don't know where that came from, but...
Is that a reference to something?
I don't know.
It probably is, and it's very ham-fisted if it is, and I'm mad about it, even though I don't even know what it's a reference to.
I don't know if it's a reference or not. If it's not, and it's just random, like, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I
guess it is kind of funny if it's not a reference, but given that this is a Void game, and the thing is, this specific dungeon, the specific factory mutated monster dungeon, is where it's like everything's a reference.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I just found it amusing enough to be a memorable moment, so there you go.
Then... another one that I have in the base is you go to the IT room, and there's the manager there, and he's like, yeah, I don't do a lot of IT, but it's my job to make sure everyone's pepped. And then he says, go to line 10 for X equals 0. Public void, let's do this function. Comment, this rocks.
That's cute.
It's so cute and stupid. I love it.
So I cut out my connection for like a whole I'll admit I opened up WhatsApp because I wanted to check out what people were saying about Jeffrey Epstein. I'm in a group chat that is solely devoted to figuring out who murdered Jeffrey Epstein. But anyway, when I opened up WhatsApp, it made my internet shitty for like 2 entire minutes. So I'm really sorry, Eli. I didn't hear your memorable moments, but I will hear them later when I listen to this episode. I just want to just a bunch of fucking references. When you look at the fucking computer screen in this room, it says you stare at the broken screen, but the image refused to change. And I'm just like, that's a reference to Chrono Trigger. And then a little while later, there's some broken experiment tubes, and Sean's like, I never understood these things. If you have a dangerous test subject, why would you put it in something flimsy like glass? And I'm like, we're commenting on tropes. And then and then that continues to happen like 5 more times in the same dungeon, and I'm just like, oh my god, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Please allow me to take this game seriously.
Yeah.
Also, this was not a meme reference because this meme is literally from 2 weeks ago, but I like thinking it's a meme reference. One of the security droids, the text description of it is bigger than before. Which, considering that this game was written more than 2 weeks ago, it's not actually a meme reference, but I find that extremely funny.
That's great. One other memorable moment I have is when Chan shows up. It's actually in pixel art, and it's really cool. She like superhero lands and summons like 6 guns and shoots people with it. And it's actual pixel art, and it's beautiful, and it makes me wish that the rest of the game had pixel art in it.
Yeah.
But let's see, I probably have others. When in the first boss fight, the boss's text description, it says, he's not a 2-bit thug, he's at least a 16-bit thug. Which would be more funny if there were 16-bit pixel art in this game. It
would be. I actually chuckled at that joke, and then after chuckling, was annoyed because the game wasn't actually 16-bit.
Yeah.
They should be like, more like a 16-bit thug, or more like a kind of random mishmash thug. Yeah. I have one last one. I like how all these characters just know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like when what's his name? When Sue joins, they don't have to give him a big, like, his backstory is he's the guy from work that you already know because you all already work together. So I don't think it's underwritten at all. I actually think it's a good amount of written. He's just like, I don't know. It's cool. They already have like a rapport. Like, you know, they see each other every day. Not just Sue. Same with all of them. With Dave and Sean. They already know what their deal is, and they're just like, all right, we're in a party now. I love that. I think it's cool.
Yeah. My last one is about Chan's religion, which is like a really cool, like, mystic magic sort of religion, but it's all about guns. And she talks about her at the same time it's just a joke because this whole game, everything, they have to take the piss out of it with making it a joke, and the joke is about modern JRPGs like Xenoblade 2 where they don't ever shut the fuck up. But before the joke, she is like, yeah, guns are really important to me, and as part of my religion, I have to say this chant every time I pray, and the chant is, ammo beyond twilight, guns in the flow of time, I pledge myself to thee to destroy all that stands in our way. And I liked that. She then is like,
good.
She's like, but of course I can just say it in my head. I don't have to say it out loud. How annoying would that be if I had to say that every time I wanted to use a gun? And I'm just like, dang it! I was really like appreciating this world building and this tender moment with Chan, and you had to go and make fun of fucking Star Ocean or whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. As much as I rag on the constant quips and the dumb jokes, and not just the references, but like the trope self-aware fourth wall breaks, 9 out of 10 of the time it annoys me. But then one of them will make me laugh, and I'm like, wait. No, I'm supposed to be annoyed by this.
I know.
That's one of the ones that made me laugh, actually. And I was like, but then I was annoyed at myself. I was like, no, I have standards.
Right. But yeah,
that's how they get you, I guess.
That's all that I really got here. Double checking. Yeah, that's all I got. Other than that, I really liked the design of the ghosty robot dragon. I thought it was really cool looking.
Oh yeah, it was cool.
But yeah, that will do it for the week. Unless you guys have anything else to.
No, I'm good to fucking go.
All right.
How much are we playing for next week? Three more chapters.
Let me double check. So there are 13 chapters, so yeah, we will be doing 3 at a time, and then the 13th chapter we'll do for the finale.
Okay.
And
as usual, though, we should go ahead and just disclaimer that. Remember, we don't know anything about this game. It is new enough and obscure enough that there's nothing out there, so we have no idea.
There's not even an FAQ on like IG. Like it was recent enough, but where there aren't old facts for it, but obscure enough where IGN didn't cover it, because IGN basically sends an army after each game when it comes out, so that they can have a wiki article up like that day about everything, and they did not do that for this game. So it is.
So the point is, we don't know how long these chapters are. So of course, this could be subject to change if it turns out Chapter 5 is like 1 billion hours fucking long.
Yeah, the longest chapter seems to be Chapter 7, looking at this Let's Play, but even then, that one is only an hour and 46 minutes long, and then the next 2 are both under 30 minutes, so it evens out.
All right, cool.
Really, anyways. So we'll never have like a 10-hour thing, but just don't get too comfy to start playing at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Like that one chapter in Sailor Moon.
Yeah. Definitely. But yeah, so we'll play 3 more chapters. We will play Escape, we will play Festivities, and we will play Heart of Astrea. Both of those seem pretty normal.
I love Festivities.
Length. But what's awesome is on this Let's Play, he also will like sample out cool important things, and there's a musical sequence coming up next week, and I love that shit.
Well, that's fun.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll play that next week. If you liked what you heard and you want to support us, you can do so in one of 3 really cool ways. The first way is pay us directly at ko-fi.com/RPG Book Club. That helps a lot. A shout out to Francesco, who not only flew down to see us at Classic Games Fest, he also wanted to buy our loyalty and sent us $50 on the Ko-Fi so that we play .hack GU instead of Golden Sun for our first long cast game. So I guess that's what we're doing now, because I'm cheap and I sell out.
Yes, we are that easily bought.
Yeah, if you want us to play Golden Sun instead of .hack, get a bid war going. But that did make us really close to getting Halo done. If we don't get any new donations and we just do our monthly subscribers, we'll make it in 2 months. So we're hella damn close to playing Halo, which is really cool. But yeah, so you can hit us up on ko-fi.com/RPG Book Club. If you do so, you will see a shiny new Mega Man Battle Network thing that I wrote last night on a whim, and Matt says sounds good, so I'm going to take that as good enough and put it up online today. So yeah, that'll be there for people who back us, and then it'll be out for everyone else later. The other way you can support us is to drop us a review on iTunes. That bumps us up the ratings, helps us get new listeners. If you are one of our new listeners that is joining from Classic Games Fest, thank you and welcome. You really made me almost cry when 120 of you downloaded our show that weekend.
That was really awesome.
Yeah, bitch.
And the last way you can support us is just to talk to us on our Discord or on our Twitter, all of these links can be found at our website, which is www.rpgbook.club. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. We will be back next week, having played another hour and a half of this game, and I look forward to talking to you guys for RPG Book Club. I have been Sam Hallman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Maddie Webben.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye. Love
bitches.
you.
Or should I say, like, space by as seen in Star Wars or Star Trek episode 53, because it's a reference.